know, it's often been said that the mission of a school is to make those of us who are teachers obsolete when they leave us. And there's a very scary feeling to know that they don't need me at all. Many years ago, many years ago, I had the honor of being in a group just like this one. Happened to be on the other side of the country, but pretty much the same thing. And it always ended the same way. After the program was over, I'd meet my folks in the lobby, and my mom was in tears. She just gave me a hug and couldn't really say anything. And my dad would give me this big bear hug, and he'd always say the same thing. The music was so beautiful, I just wish the guest conductor wouldn't give a speech. But with all due respect to my dad, I would be remiss not to say a few things before we do our last piece. Though I feel like a mob is assembled. I'm not sure if they're trying to push me off the stage or... I would be remiss if not to express once again my appreciation to Sweetwater Union School District, all of the administrators, all of the facilitators, and all of the teachers. Would you once again help me thank them all for their support? I want to thank our incredible manager. Mr. Dewar thought of things before I ever thought to think of them. More phone calls for me saying, what if we try this? What if we do this? I would have hung up on me. But he did it all with a smile, and we could not ask for anyone to care for us more. Would you help me thank him, please? I want to thank the families and parents and loved ones of these remarkable people. Did you ever think when they came home the first day playing these instruments, and they made some, let's call them sounds, and you look them bold-faced in the eyes, and you lied to them and say, no, honey, you sound wonderful, that someday you'd sit here and listen to them actually sound so wonderful? Would you help me thank all the families and parents? And lastly, I need to thank the students on this stage. The great writer Carlyle said, music is a sort of unfathomable speech that at once allows you to gaze into the infinite. I don't think Carlyle ever made his way to this part of California. And I'm pretty certain he never ever saw a concert band. But I know what he meant, because for 3 precious days, I've had the honor of standing on a podium, gazing into the infinite. These young people are truly remarkable, and it's not just for what they're able to do as musicians, it's for who they are as people. There is not one person on this stage that I would not take home and make a member of my family. I know some of you. Each of them has worked tirelessly for each other. So many endeavors in their lives will be for ourselves. But this hard work was for everyone else. That's what makes this so unique, what makes them so special. And as they travel through this world, I, as an old person, I hear all these people saying doom and gloom. And as I see the end of my career looming on the horizon, there are mornings that I wake up in a panic about the future of music, the future of our world. But it's times like this, standing in front of people like this, that I have no worries. For if our world, your state, our country, our civilization, and our art is in the hands of these young people, there's nothing to worry about, because they are.
are the principal chairs of our Symphonic Honor Band. As a band, we'd like to thank Dr. Boonshaft for taking the time out of his long, heavy schedule, so much that we had to book him 4 years in advance, just to have these 3 special days with us. Dr. Boonshaft, as a teacher, you've showed us the true meaning of what it is to be a musician. You've showed us how to create melodies, bass lines, harmonies, and not only music and notes on a page, but in our daily lives. You've given us countless stories, beautiful character, and we, as a band and a district, could not be more honored to have you as our guest conductor tonight. We'd like to present you with this gift. Dr. Boonshaft's birthday, and as parting words to us before we left for the night, he told us that we were one of the best birthday gifts he could have asked for. Aww. But truly, sir, you are the gift that's come to us, and we can't be more honored to have you.
I am speechless, and that is very rare. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart. And as I can feel my Father's presence from above, I want to tell you just a little bit about the piece you're about to hear, for it needs explanation. This piece is so intricate, I could spend hours and hours explaining the detail and still not even come close to scratching the surface. But here's the gist of it. Compositions of music have been written over the centuries for various reasons. The celebrations, the coronations, the birth, the passing of a loved one. Lots of different reasons that composers have chosen to write music. But one that has stood the test of time, it's been asked over and over again, is what's often called the eternal question. And that is, does good or evil triumph? Composers far and wide have asked in their own way through music, does good prevail or does evil? And the piece you're about to hear is one of those pieces. The Hymn of St. James asks the question in its text, basically, which prevails, good or evil? And you will hear the good, that is a hymn song that's lovely and beautiful, and often played by the instrument that throughout time has been thought of as the most regal, that the French horn. And you'll hear this melody, but then once in a while you'll hear something that you will think is the ugliest thing you've ever heard. And you'd be right, because it is evil rearing its head saying, you're wrong. Good will never win. Evil will prevail. And throughout the piece, it keeps asking the question and answering it in different ways. And you'll know which it is very easily. Until finally we get to the end, and we get to a place where you think all is comfort, all is good, all is well. The good in the world will always triumph. And then all of a sudden, at the end of the piece, with the most ugly of elements possible in music, the French horns turn and become evil and say, you've been wrong all along. Good will never, ever triumph. And the band then says, good will triumph. And the horns ask again, you're wrong. And the band a second time says, good will prevail. And finally, the third time, the horns say, you're wrong. The band overpowers them, turns them back to good. And with the halo of an angel, at the end of the piece, settles once and for all that good will always triumph evil. River Clark's Hymn of St. James. With my thanks, the hope that our paths will cross again, a safe journey home, and we hope you enjoy the spectacular piece of art that these young people will play for you.
Let's hear it for Dr. Peter Boonchap and the Stillwater Union High School District Honor Support Band. So once again, thank you to all the directors. Thank you to Chula Vista High School for hosting us. Thank you, students, for such a magnificent job. Thank you.